A couple of knocks and stuff, but we should be okay, generally speaking. Popey did well. He got a knock on his ankle and come through it. He did well with that. Gibbo won't be fit, but he's getting generally fit. He trained, but he's literally had 2 days training in 3 weeks. Ben Gibson knows. I think they're the only ones who'll definitely miss out.
Obviously, Christmas is always tough in terms of the number of fixtures and what have you that you've had, but in terms of the results, has it been a particularly disappointing period for you?
Well, it's a tough period on paper, and it ended up a tough period. We've still got another tough period to come, actually, you know, with the games on paper. But it's not won and lost on paper, thankfully, but we've got to go and deliver better performances. We know that. But it sometimes happens. You know, this is life in the Premier League at Burnley. We don't have it easy. We have to fight for everything, and we'll have to continue to do so. Yeah, not that they really turned up. There's no lack of effort, but sometimes it's misguided effort. You know, you've got to work smart, not just hard. And second half, we obviously worked a lot smarter and probably in the end, you know, could have nicked something out of the game. And with the chance we created, which was the pleasing side of it, probably should have. But if some buts and maybes are no use after the event, you know, you've got to activate when it's 0-0 and you've got to take the game on. And we didn't do that. We've got to do that more going forward, of course. But like I say, this is the ups and downs and the challenges that we've often had in the Premier League.
Since that game, we've had the news through today that Wesley is going to be out for the rest of the season, the Aston Villa striker. Obviously involved in the challenge with Ben Mee. There were reports that maybe there were a few words exchanged afterwards. Villa not happy with that challenge. Is that something that you're aware of?
No. What I do know, the things I'm aware of, is firstly, we wish both players well. Tom Heaton, of course, as well, who's got an injury. And, you know, real shame on that side of things. So we wish them both well. No, I think the player actually, after it all calmed down, was actually said, yeah, this is football. This is the way it goes. And no questions of anything other. Nor should there be. You know, it was a simple case, really. When you think, you know, arguably one of the country's best referees gives a goal kick, VAR gives nothing. It's just a very unfortunate incident. I don't think you'd even be asking, actually, if the outcome wasn't that someone got injured. I think that's just the truth of where it's at. And I think that's the way it's, you know, it should be viewed. And most people in football, if there was no injury, would be saying really good covering, really good defending, and just the honesty of a good player doing a good job.
Obviously, the window's open now. Any thoughts on the possibility of bringing somebody in at all at the moment?
It's unlikely. You know, I've said down the years, it's always tough recruiting players here, and I think it's unlikely at this stage. There's certainly nothing that's looking open to us. You never know, because things change. But I don't think so. I don't think we've got, you know, unless I'm told different, I don't think there's an enormous amount of money being put forward, or options, it must be said. You can have all the money in the world. If the options are not there, it doesn't matter. So the two things need to combine, and at the moment, I don't think there's a lot going on.
What about Danny Drinkwater's future? Because obviously his loan deal will come.
Danny will go back. Just really for football reasons, he just hasn't had the pitch time. And, you know, obviously there's a moment in between when we had injuries where he probably would have played, but things happen in football. He's been a credit to himself, I must say, the way his professionalism has been, other than the incident, and the way he's recovered from that, the way he's looked after himself. He's tried to be part of the group. We just haven't got him as much game time as what he wanted and what he needs as well. But no, I like him a lot. I like him as a player, I like him as a character, and I wish him well.
Are you disappointed for him that he's not really been able to show?
Yeah, I mean, look, life's life. You know, life's life. It's, you know, there was an incident. It's unfortunate. It cost a lot more time than we thought, both us and him, of course. In that time, we'd had ups and downs, but, you know, got reasonably good value from out the team with points on the board, and just couldn't get him enough game time, to be honest. But my respect for him is high. I like him as a person and as a player.
FA Cup time this time around, obviously in Peterborough. In a lot of these competitions previously, you've made quite a few changes to the squad. Is that going to be the case this time around?
Yeah, I think there will be changes, but I obviously am aware of the team, and I think it's a strong team. I think it's a team that can certainly take care of themselves. But as we've seen before, you have to turn up. The big thing for me in these competitions is the mental side of it. You know, if you approach it in the wrong way, you get beat. Because you can't take football for granted. I've got a lot of respect for Darren. I know him personally. I think over the years at varying clubs, but particularly Peterborough's done a great job. I like him as a fella as well. Obviously, for 95 minutes, that all goes out the window. But no, I think he does a good job there, and his team will be up for it. They've had a sticky patch themselves, but they'll look at it as a free one. We have to look at it as a game that we go and deliver, and I think it's simple from our point of view. It's not simple's not always easy, but you know, we've got to have that clear focus on delivering a performance, and if we do that, then we will look after ourselves.
And if you do make changes, obviously give somebody an opportunity to try and to you for Premier League games as well, given the sort of results you've had in recent weeks?
Well, there's a lot made of changes, but I saw the Liverpool game last night. I don't think there was too many changes there for a team that have been travelling all over the world. So I think it's a strange thing, different views on that. On this occasion, I will make changes, but there's a lot of players who have been playing a lot of football recently. So I expect a performance, make no mistake, as I always do. But yeah, there's an ongoing debate on that, changes for what reason. But I saw that Liverpool side go out there last night, and that looks like pretty much their team over most periods of the season, let alone just this period. And they've done as much travelling, as much change, as many tough games as anyone. But he kept with the same team, more or less. Thank you.
Afternoon, Sean. Obviously, you just mentioned then Danny's going back. Does that give you enough options? You feel obviously you have three senior central midfielders. It doesn't heighten the need to delve.
No, it does heighten the need, but you have to have players available. You have to have finance. You have to have players available. You have to have all things come in line. It's never been a case where I've had to just go out and cherry pick players. We know that. There's a certain model we live by here, and it is tough, and it's even tougher in a window that is tough in itself. And there's a lot bigger situations in the game at clubs far, far richer than us who will still have a quiet January just by the nature of it.
Is that as much that it's not so much that you haven't identified targets, it's that the finance and the availability is trickier in January than it might be in the summer?
No, it's just both. There's only so many targets that fit our model. It's not if you're the superpowers of the Premier League, you could more or less handpick any player around the world, and the chances are you're going to probably be able to afford both their contracts and their fees. There's a few, of course, you can't or you can't touch, but generally speaking, that's just not our world. So the amount of players who fit into the model that we've got, and then, of course, not just fitting in, they've got to be capable. They've got to at least either perform now or mature to perform into the side. So it just makes it very tough every year, and January is even more tough because no one wants to lose players anyway, and therefore usually you have to pay an increased value to get them out. And in my history, the money side of things, not many want to pay an increase on anything, let alone buying players.
What about potential departures? I mean, last January we saw Sam Oakes go, which I think you said at the time was a deal that worked for yourselves and for
yeah.
the player,
Now and again in football, there's the kind of the perfect deal that makes sense to everyone. It makes sense. Sam had been a brilliant servant to us. He'd done fantastically well. It was a very good fee at the time for that player, all things being considered. We've got Crouch, who great fella, done brilliant for us coming in this way. And a good fee, as I said. So that one worked for everyone, right for the players and right for the clubs at the time. Not many of them deals happen when they're just as simple as that.
And I guess if someone did go in that regard, you're then losing another member of, you're losing another body, aren't you? So you would ideally like to replace them as you did with Crouch.
No, yeah, I mean, it's unlikely that anything goes out of our building. It's not impossible because, like I say, the club do have a model. If a number hits a certain number, then often the club say yes, but it's unlikely that anyone will go out of our building. When we're talking about recognised first-team players, some of the younger players are different, but the recognised first-team squad, it's unlikely that anyone will be going out.
You mentioned younger players then. Is there an opportunity now for a couple of them in this FA Cup tie to sort of get involved?
Well, we've got to make sure, because we have got players who have been coming out of injury. We've had a real tough spell of 6 key injuries, and we're only really just coming out of that properly. So I think they need to get fit first. Ideally, we'd use younger players when we can, or at least get them around the squad. But the key to it is allowing the game time for the obvious ones. Some is like Johan. He's still on the sort of end of getting truly fit. So people like him, it's a really good game for, etc., etc. Others who have missed a few weeks and haven't played due to changes in the team. We want to keep all the main first team squad sharp. But the main thing behind that, because that all sounds really easy, is to win the game. We want to win the game, and I've made that absolutely clear to the players. Our prep has been as good a prep as what we'd have for anyone. The detail in it, the observation of the opposition, and us delivering a performance has been as deep as we'd do for anyone. So therefore, we want to make sure we win the game.
And I guess that Sunderland game in the Carabao Cup from earlier in the season serves as a reminder that just because they're in League One does not mean...
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, we don't take anyone for granted. We didn't that night. We dominated a lot of the game, but made mistakes all over the place, and you can't do that against anyone. I've played up and down the divisions myself, and you should never take football lightly against anyone, and we certainly don't, by the way. But sometimes the edge that you need and the clarity of thought you need to deliver is taken away. We can't afford that. We've got to make sure that we've got that clear-mindedness to go and win a game.
And just lastly for me, given the last couple of results, and there was a smattering of booze probably as you left the pitch at half time on the Saturday.
Booze? What, bottles of it or?
No.
Booze. Sorry,
There might
jizz.
have been a
Right,
few bottles of booze. It was. Given that and the sort of difficulties that you guys face in January, do you understand the fans' sort of frustrations?
I've never had a problem. I've said it many, many times. Good, bad news, it's the way it is. That's football for you. You know, we've delivered a lot of good news over lots of years here. Now and again, it's not such good news. There's a human reaction to that. I have no problem with our fans. They've been very, very strong and very loyal to the team. We will need it going forward. We've got some big games and some tough games coming. Another big second half of the season is expected from us to deliver. We will need the fans to stay with the players. If they choose to, that would be brilliant. If they choose not to, they have their right. I've never had a problem with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't you want